Well, everyone, it's time for us to go and take a look at the Google Pixel 7a and compare it against the Nothing Phone 2a and see which particular phone is a better one for you. Now, I will definitely tell you between both these devices, they're very different, but they're still very, good in their own way, which I really like. And I don't think there's one that's significantly, insanely way better than the other one, but there are still lots of reasons why one phone might be better than the other one. So we'll talk about that throughout this whole entire video. If you want to pick up either one of these phones or some phones I would recommend buying this year, links will be down in the description. You can get them from there and you can help support the channel at the same time. Now starting off with the outside, the Google Pixel 7a on the front had a 6.1-inch OLED display. Now it was a pretty good panel. There wasn't really anything super insane going on with it. It was a pretty basic panel. There wasn't like a crazy cool feature with it. This phone did have 90 Hz though, or did have 90 Hz, which was really cool. I love having at least like a 90 Hz panel, and this thing definitely was giving you that. I will also say the build quality of this phone is very, very good for how cheap this phone was, but still a very good looking device, hole punch display, pretty thick bezels around it, but it's not as thick as you may suspect, but it still is kind of more than what you'd expect on like a Pixel 8, but still a very good looking phone nonetheless. Now on the Nothing Phone 2a, it's a little bit of a different type of device. It's a bigger phone, so you're getting a 6.7-inch AMOLED display here. It's also a 120 Hz panel, which is actually very nice. Both these panels are 1080p, but I actually do like having a 120 Hz panel a lot, and that is something that's really cool going on for this particular device as well. It's a hole punch display. I would say thinner bezels around it than the Pixel 7a, and it's a curved side too, which kind of gives it more of a modern feel, which is something that's really cool going on for the Nothing Phone 2a. Now for the rest of the bodies, I think the Pixel 7a feels more expensive. I definitely do think the Nothing Phone 2a still feels fairly good for it being like a $350 phone, but the Pixel 7a feels very, very good in the hand. Now you are getting flat sides on both of them, kind of. So the Nothing Phone 2a is pretty much flat. The Pixel 7a is pretty much a little bit curved, but the Pixel 7a feels very premium. Like it's a very expensive phone for what you're getting. It feels like a very expensive phone. At the top, nothing much going on. On the bottom, you're getting your USB Type-C ports, which is great. SIM card eject tray here on the Nothing Phone 2a. The Pixel 7a is right there. Speaker grill, all this stuff, charging ports there too. On the back side, you're getting kind of an interesting styling back. So I believe these both have plastic backs, which again, there's nothing wrong with that. But you were also getting something like both of them feel very, very good. That is something that's very interesting between both these devices because both of them, as far as I know, the Nothing Phone 2a has a plastic back too. It feels like a plastic back, but you're getting a little bit of a different design. Obviously with the Nothing Phone 2a, you're getting a, kind of this glyph interface, which shows all these lights and everything, which is pretty cool. The 7a definitely doesn't have that, but still a very good looking phone. Dual camera setups on the backside as well. You're getting wireless charging on both these phones too, which is still a nice touch to have. And overall, I definitely would tell you, at least on the outside of both these devices, they definitely get a thumbs up for me. I think these are very good looking phones. They still feel and look very premium, and I don't really have that much to complain about here between both these devices. So from that side, that kind of covers it up here. Now the other big thing, and actually when I mentioned the Nothing Phone 2a had wireless charging, it looks like it doesn't have wireless charging, which is pretty wild. Now in terms of the actual software longevity, this is also going to be another big thing. You are probably going to be getting a longer lasting phone on the Pixel 7a than the Nothing Phone 2a. Again, we don't really know. This phone hasn't been out for that long for us to kind of look back. Even if the manufacturer tells us something, we don't have a track record yet. We know that the Nothing Phone 1 and 2 are out, so we know that much. Pixels, have been supported with software for a long period of time. So there's a very high likelihood where this device may end up getting, software support for a longer period of time. So once again, we're just going to have to kind of wait and see what happens, but I'd probably argue that the Nothing Phone 2a may not last as long as the Google Pixel 7a when it comes down to it. So that right there is like another big thing to kind of keep in mind there too. Now, speed comparison time. The Pixel 7a has the Google Tensor G2 chipset inside of it with 8 gigabytes of RAM, but the Nothing Phone 2a has that MediaTek Dimensity 7200 Pro chipset with 8 or 12 gigabytes of RAM. So let's go and see which one's the faster phone between both. Okay, there we go. All the apps are cleared out in the background, so let us get into it. So phone calls 3, 2, 1. Okay, about the same thing, camera 3, 2, 1. And about the same thing too. Let's go and hop out of here. Let's get into their Play Stores 3, 2, 1. Now, I don't think this one has Wi-Fi, or they both have Wi-Fi, which is good. Scrolling through, let's see if there's any big difference. And honestly, from the 90 Hz to 120 Hz, not like big differences as far as I can tell. They're both very smooth, but I think the Nothing Phone 2a you can kind of tell is a little bit smoother for the most part. Getting into some of these other applications, let's try Temple Run 2, 3, 2, 1. Now this game also is not that crazy, but it's still a fun one to test. Let's see if the Tensor chipset's better than the other one, and of course we get into this pop-up, which is very, very unfortunate. I don't know why we're getting all these pop-ups. I've already opened up all these apps, so it's very unfortunate, but I do think in a lot of ways the Pixel 7a maybe would have been a little bit faster here, but this one was not a good test. I don't know why we're getting all these pop-ups. Like, can't we just play the game? It's so annoying. Getting into the actual game though, let's see if there's any differences, and it doesn't really look like it. Yeah, it looks like about the same thing hopping out of these two. Let's go and get into X, 3, 2, 1. Okay, the Pixel 7a was probably the faster one here, but this one did get into this panel. I think there was supposed to be a pop-up here that didn't show up. Stack, 3, 2, 1. And, okay, the Pixel 7a was the fastest one to load into the ad. The Nothing Phone 2a, I guess this is a glitch within the game where sometimes it like loads into the ad like midway and then it's like doesn't load. Gameplay-wise, let's see if there's any big differences. And you all will be able to tell the camera more so than I can, but it looks like they're both doing pretty good, not too many big differences here. Hopping out of these two. Let's do tempo on 1, 3, 2, 1. Now I'm going to stand by and see if there's any ads or like any pop-ups that come up that I have to quickly close out of. And both of them we're kind of stopping the same way. So this one got into this one first, and this one got into it significantly later. So that right there was a pretty big difference in and of itself. I was not expecting that big of a difference right there, but just kind of one other thing to kind of keep in mind. And we'll go and do one more. Let's go and do something like Netflix, 3, 2, 1. And about the same thing too, not that big of a difference there either. Roblox, 3, 2, 1. Now, these games, again, they're going to be kind of, not that great because they're just getting into like the actual panel, but I will tell you, I do think in some ways the Pixel 7a probably is the faster one when it kind of comes down to it. I think both these phones have their own, strong suits, but I definitely don't think in terms of this side that the Pixel 7a is going to be the faster. I mean, I think the Pixel 7a is probably the faster one when it kind of comes down to it. So from that side, that kind of covers it up there. Now, from the camera side of things, like I said before, both these have a little bit of a different type of camera. I mean, they're both like dual camera setups, which is really nice, but you are also getting very interesting looking things when it kind of comes down to it. So they're both wide and ultra-wide lenses, which is very nice. I like having wide and ultra-wide cameras, but they're also slightly different. So first of all, you are getting 4K at 60 on the back. This is fine. You're getting 4K at 60 on the back of the Pixel 7a, and you're also getting 4K at 30 on the front of the Pixel 7a, which is really nice. The Nothing Phone 2a has 4K at 30 on the back and 1080p at 60 on the front. Kind of a downside if you're wanting a better camera. The Nothing Phone 2a really wasn't going to be giving you a better camera anyway, but this is clearly an example of this phone not really doing that well from the camera department. It's already giving you lower resolution than you can film it on the Pixel 7a. Now the camera on the Pixel 7a I think is fairly good, 8x zoom for the most part, 0.5x zoom on this side, getting camera mode, portrait mode, long exposure, night sight, standard video mode, and under modes you're getting a lot. You're getting 3 other modes, which is still very nice. Pretty good camera. There's not really that much to hate on here, and I do think it's a pretty good camera, but it's definitely not perfect by any means. With the Nothing Phone 2a, this phone is going to be giving you a fairly good camera too. I think this is a very, very solid camera when it kind of comes down to it. You're getting 0.6x zoom here, and you're getting 10x zoom here, which you're getting more zooming in than the Pixel 7a, which is nice. But here you're getting video mode, slow mode, and it's really the big thing is the resolution that you're not able to film in. Like, you're getting higher resolutions on the Pixel 7a, so I feel like that camera is going to arguably be better than something like the Nothing Phone 2a. So to kind of sum up this whole entire video, what I'll definitely tell you is both these phones are very great. I like both these phones a lot. The Nothing Phone 2a is very surprising because it is a significantly cheaper phone. It's not a significantly cheaper phone anymore, but it is a cheaper phone overall than the 7a when this one first retailed. So for this price, I mean, it's pretty hard to beat. But the Pixel 7a is probably going to be giving you the overall better device. I feel like this phone is going to be more of a complete phone. It's going to be basically giving you like the software updates that you'd expect. It has more of a community. I feel like the performance is going to be better. And this is more of a phone that I feel like I could recommend people more so than this thing. So that kind of covers it up here. If you have any other thoughts or questions, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video.